Hello world, welcome to the 245th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It is August 1st, 2023. Next week will be August 11th, 2023 for the 246th climate change emergency protest. This is number 245. I'm dressed in my running stuff because I'm going to go for a run after this. I'm standing here again after 2 weeks at the parking lot near the Gettysburg Square in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Why am I here? This is symptomatic of every town in the United States, if not the world, where they see a commodification, a place to make money, rather than a place for people and a respite and a tourist attraction and a wonderful place to be. This is going to be complete with a 5-story building on one side, a 5-story building on this side, and a 7-story building they're saying, but it's in reality 9 stories after you factor in the air conditioner, with 160 apartments and things like that. I'm going to talk about what should happen and what absolutely should happen versus what is going to happen, because the writing's on the wall. People can't think forward. No one's going to protest. No one's going to sleep out here at night and protest in groups of people and just protest till they give up in town with the city council or whatever they are, and the county commissioners and whoever else is in charge, and make them see the light of day that there are other possibilities out here. It just bothers me to no end. And we're going to pay dearly for this type of attitude, not only here, but also the whole United States and the world, that they're not taking climate change seriously. And we're literally at the last fingernails of the rope, holding on barely. And what is coming is going to be catastrophic. There are many things happening right now. The AMOC shutdown, El Nino, solar activity is at its maximum till 2025, and what it is going to cause feedback loops with the AMOC shutting down, the permafrost releasing, Antarctica melting, the sea ice is going away, the Arctic melting, Taiga on fire, all the forest lands and up in the Arctic. There are so many feedback loops that happen with feedback loops, and the feedback loops cause feedback loops that we're literally going extinct, okay? All life is, unless we change our path. And these are the type of instances where common sense doesn't make any sense anymore. It's all about money. Make money, make money, make money in an economy that's going to go away in 2 or 3 years. I mean, people aren't getting how close we are to the edge. We got to straighten up as to our attitude and think differently totally. And your two parties that are involved right now are right behind all this, and people can't think their way out of it. You know, you're acting like prisoners in a cage. The door's open. You're not shackled. You don't have any shackles. Go another direction. Start voting for other people. Make them see that they got to change their directions with their parties, rather than stay with these two parties in the United States, especially, that are hell-bent on killing us. Their policies are killing us. Okay, you can't drill, baby, drill. You can't drill in the Arctic. You can't auction off 2,600 drilling permits in the United States on federal land. You can't keep this stuff up. 2 auctions in the Gulf of Mexico for more drilling. This is not an administration that's in favor of climate change and changing their ways. And the next one coming in, the Republicans, are definitely not in favor of changing their ways. So it's a case of the gun or the gun. You got to get away and walk away from these people and these types of thoughts. So here I am standing at Lincoln Park, because Abraham Lincoln was intrinsic in this area, and also known as Gettysburg Park and the People's Park. All right, this is 5 acres of trees. See how beautiful it is? 5 acres of trees. Plus, there might be another 2 acres over here. It's complete with a water feature, a small band shell, park benches, and a walking path. It also has a bike path around the perimeter. And nearby, over here, is Racehorse Alley. What does Racehorse Alley have? Well, it's 3 blocks all the way down. And that also has outdoor restaurants in the back. We're up against Racehorse Alley. It's between Stratton Street and Franklin Street. There's a greenway, there's walking paths, and people enjoy themselves in the trees and with the plants. Also near here, right here, is the parking garage. Okay, on top of this parking garage right now, you got solar panels, people parking for free with electric cars, more incentive. And they have enough solar panels to supply for the next levels as well. There are batteries there that they store up power for the next group of people coming in the following day. That's the parking garage. The streets of Chambersburg Street, Baltimore Street, Carlisle Street, and York Street are greenways. They're complete with trees and shrubs and plants. They've eliminated most of the driving. It's down to one way each way rather than two ways, cutting down on traffic. Eventually, the traffic will be sent around the square area in one way only. So it's kind of like a big circle. The cars no longer go down through the middle of town. In fact, it's encouraged. The cars aren't even allowed in town. They're going to have satellite parking with self-driving electric vehicles that pick up people and take them downtown, or electric buses. Or with at the local bars, when they go for drinks, an extra 25 cents per drink is paid for. And what that does is allow drivers that can be employed to drive people, in buses, electric buses or whatever, full time, and bring people downtown. And why would people come downtown? Because of the park, because of the greenway. So let's see, perpendicular to the two, well, you got Zurfing Alley also on the other side of the square. That's also complete with as a greenway. So that's another thought on that. So basically, got a greenway, the square, and another greenway, parking garage with solar panels. So now, by Zurfing Alley, then going south of town, perpendicular to town, 3/4 of a mile is Court Alley. That also is complete with trees and shrubs, 3 levels: shrubs, medium trees, and then tall trees. And why do you have this? Well, as we've seen out west, temperatures have been getting up to 100, 110, things like that. If you have a town that is not at heat island, and rather than it has a cooling area, such as this park here, this wonderful 5-acre park of trees, the town stays cooler, especially at night. It cools down. That does not happen out west in Phoenix and places like that. It stays hot. It gets hot. It stays hot. The floor is raised up. So the floor, the heat starts right at 90 degrees and goes up from the day, and that's why they have 118 degrees, let alone their location in the southwest. So this Court Alley runs 3/4 of a mile. It's also the same situation. You have restaurants along the way. It's a connector to Steinway Avenue, which is the tourist trap area. And that entire area for a half mile is composed of trees and shrubs. And the sidewalks are brought in a little bit so that they can have more trees and greenways. So instead, we're going to have 3 buildings. As I said, it's a 5-story building here on the far side, a 7-story building in the middle, and another 5-story building here. What's the problem with this? Well, it's a heat island, as I said. It never releases the heat then. It gets the heat from the sun, it beats and beats and beats, and then it gives off heat at night, all night long, all right? Whereas also you have the potential crime at night. You have over 160 apartments. You're going to end up with some sort of riffraff once in a while in there. That makes the downtown not safe. People stop coming. The word gets out it's not safe. Then more people stop coming. Pretty soon you have a dead town. And it becomes every urban town, just like anywhere else. And instead of a quaint little town, because of these apartment complexes, you've now built yourself a town that is just like any other urban inner city. And people don't want to come. It's not safe. 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, people clear out rather than hang out and be fun, have a fun time, sit on the park benches here, enjoying themselves, enjoying the conversation with the kids and everything in the restaurants that are on the adjacent alleys and the greenways. You ride your bicycle downtown, you hang out, you ride your bicycle back to the apartments or back to the hotel or wherever you go, or to your house right over here. So instead, if the power goes out, okay, this is a type of area where if people don't have electricity for air conditioners, can be a cooling area, okay? Yeah, during the midday, it might still be hot, 100 degrees or whatever in times of climate change is what's coming. But at night, it might cool down to 80, 70, 60 because of the trees. It's giving off water vapor. You could have a water feature. This is a great downhill area. You could have the water feature going from a half mile away from here, like an aqueduct, all the way down through here and then down to the Tiber River. This is every town USA. Just a little bit of thought, you can go forward with this. So you got the cooling centers for the trees. Where are we going to get the money for the trees? Well, yeah, people donate trees. Our property just out of town, we got trees growing all the time. Maples, oaks, you name it, aspen trees, things like that. We could just bring trees in, the battlefield. We need to get pressure on the battlefield too, nearby. They've cut down all the trees, which is in a swale that feeds right into this town, just south of town, and they're going to have a deluge. When the deluge comes, it's not if, but when it comes, it's going to wipe out certain areas of this town all the way through town as it just rips right through here. We have no idea what's coming, but I know what's coming. I've seen it. I know I've studied everything, and we're going to have rip-roaring deluges of like a foot of rain at a time, 2 feet of rain at a time, things like that. So people come to places like this, okay? They come to parks. They come visiting greenways, things like that. Wow, man, let's go hang out in Gettysburg. Let's just hang out for the day. Let's come in downtown. But people don't come to see a 5-story building, a 7-story building, and another 5-story building. In fact, they go, oh my God, what a horrible, horrible urban area this is now. Ugh, used to be such a nice town. So it just becomes any town USA. So climate change is coming with a vengeance. This town is every town USA, as I said. We're not ready for what's coming. There are no plans for climate change. There's no discussion about climate change within the city council, within friends or family, within neighbors, things like that. You cannot get a conversation going about climate change. So these are the moments in time where decisions, they think they're set in stone. Change your way, okay? Just change your direction. Whoever is in charge of this thing, change your thought pattern, okay? Friends, neighbors, everyone in town, complain to whoever you know in town, the city council, the county commissioners, whoever else is in charge, the mayor, things like that. These decisions are indicative of the naive ignoring of the most catastrophic event in human history, the 6th mass extinction. We are in the 6th mass extinction. I've talked about this in many, many talks. If you go back onto my Facebook page, this is my 245th. Go backwards, and I talk about everything concerning climate change. And there's no discussion in this town. I thank you all from around the world who pays attention to these things. Locally, not so much. Okay, I never hear anything. No friends, no family, no neighbors, no nothing ever says, hey, I saw your report on, on Facebook and everything. It's like I got 3,000 some friends on Facebook. I got 900 some followers, and not one bit of conversation around here. It's crazy. So at what point do towns take action? At what point do people demand better of their towns? Okay, this thing here is just one example. Are you going to just sit down and watch TV and just not even say anything about that? I encourage people to sleep and camp out here in protest until they change their mind on things. Even when the bulldozers come, stay here and protest. I'll come down, I'll hang out with whoever, but it's not going to happen. Get a group of 20 people hanging out here constantly, it might change things. People might go to jail, I don't know. But at some point, you have to decide whether extinction is preferable over survival. Okay. Right now, you don't want to go through the extinction process. People are dying all over the country. They think that in Phoenix, they've said 70-some people have died for sure of heat, but they think another 247 might have died of heat as well, that they can't figure out, whether it was extra circumstances, like a heart attack because someone was, overheated, things like that. So at what point do towns take action? This is every town USA. When do you actually draw a line and say no more growth, no more this, no more that? We're coming up on a dire situation. We got to fight for our lives. At what point do people demand better? And at what point do people even talk about climate change? When is this conversation going to happen? Is it going to be once it happens here? I mean, is everyone stupid that you're not seeing what's happening around the country right now and around the world? Of course, people don't know what's happening around the world because they watch NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox television. They have no idea what's happening around the world, about the deluges of the fires, the drought, things like that, people drowning, all sorts of stuff, crops being lost everywhere. You're not going to have a habitat. You're not going to have food on this pace the way we're going. We need to change our ways for sure. So I'll catch you next week. That'll be number 246, and I should not have done 246 of these. I should have done one broadcast, and that should have been enough for everyone in this town to go, hey, we need to change our ways as to what's going on. And that was 5 years ago. Still at it, still going, 245 later. Catch you next week. I hope not. Maybe things will change. Everything's peachy.